K.Azcona Designs is coming up with a new pattern, and I knew right away that I would have to do a tutorial on it. I love all of her patterns because they are always fun, unique, and just really well written. It's just always a great sew. This one is no exception. This is the shade Slayer. This is a sunglasses or regular glasses case that's in the shape of a coffin. It is a very simple sew. Honestly, we don't really need a tutorial, but I just thought it would be fun to have one. So we're going to go over these pieces super quick. We'll sew it up super quick, and then we'll just have some fun little glass cases. This pattern comes in 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large. And then there's also a raw edge version for each of those sizes, so that you have that option as well. I am doing all 3 sizes, and I am doing them all in a cotton woven. I just typically prefer to use it, so that's what I'm doing. You also will have the snap tabs. Now, the last I checked, I think she was coming out with a larger snap tab option. At this point, when I'm filming this tutorial, she only had this size, so this is the size I am doing. I chose to cut mine out of cork. It is a raw edge tab, so that is what I'm doing with mine. I really don't even feel the need to edge coat it, which probably if I did need to, I still wouldn't have done it anyway, because I'm horrible at edge coating. I've only done it a few times and really need practice on it. On my tabs, this is what I've done so far. I cut out the piece of cork, and then I just glued it to itself. I have not stitched around it yet. We'll do that together. But I did glue it so it is secured, and I did go ahead and punch the holes for my little snaps. I'm using cam snaps on this. I already have my cam snaps out, and we will use a handheld press to install those. I'm going to put the snap tabs here, and that will be the first thing we sew up, is just top stitch around that tab. Since there are 3 sizes, I decided to pick my 3 favorite fabric groups to represent in this tutorial. For the small, I'm using a print from J&R Edwards. This will be on pre-order soon, but is not now. I'm going to have the link for the Facebook groups and the websites in my description. So for the places where the pre-orders aren't open yet, you can join their Facebook group so you can be watching when it does open. All of my tags are from Heartwood and Hide. I did go ahead and stitch around them, so they are ready to go. On the back of each one of these pieces, I'm going to have a layer of Thermolan that is kept out of my seam allowance. So this is the small. This is the medium. This is a print from K&A Custom Fabrics. This is currently available for pre-order now, so this pre-order is going on currently. I did go ahead and add the snap tab placement on each one of these as well, so that will be the other end. I haven't attached it yet, but it is there ready to be attached. This last print is for the large. This is from the Emporium. This pre-order, I think, is opening on Sunday, and if not, it will be opening soon. This is Goth Moth, and it is one of my favorite prints. It is adorable, and I will definitely be ordering more of this print. For the linings, I have the small, medium, and large linings. I just chose a very simple black. I chose not to interface these just because I didn't really feel like it would need it. This is a small case. Didn't really need a lot going on there as far as structure goes, but you definitely could add some medium weight interfacing to these if you wanted to. That's all the pieces we need to make this super quick sew. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by top stitching around each one of these tabs just 1/8 of an inch away, just to keep it secured. Even though I glued it, that glue won't stay, and plus the top stitching will just give it a more professional look. So that is going to be step 1 to make the shade Slayer. I have all of the snap tabs sewn up. So now what I want to do is I'm actually going to put the snaps on them. So the way I do that is I pick whichever side I want to be the kind of the right side. So this is going to be where the smooth side goes, since this has a little bit more prettier of cork. and this will be where the snap portion goes. And for me, I like to put the female portion on the part that moves and the male portion on the part that's stationary. You can choose whichever way you want to do it, but that's the way I do it. So you can see it just sits in there. It doesn't snap, it just sits. So you have to kind of hold it. You get your handheld press and you just nestle it in there. This black part here has like a little divot that it fits in. This yellow, clear, gold, whatever you want to call it part is what pushes down. Then you do have to find, and you do have to apply a great deal of pressure. I feel like it's hard for me. So you push it down, and what you're wanting to do is you're actually wanting that plastic to kind of mushroom out around that so that it kind of holds in place. So cam snaps aren't like the best, I think, with the handheld for being stable, and so there has been times they've come apart. So I only use these on things that I'm not really like worried if it comes undone it's going to be a big problem. Is what I'm saying. If it's something that I'm really concerned with, I would use either a spring snap or something that wouldn't be easier to come off. So that's how I'm going to do those. I'm going to do all of these snaps, and then I'm also going to pull out my exterior piece. We're going to attach the other side, the male side here. So then I'll take this smooth portion, I will put it underneath. So it comes up there, grab your male snap and just place it on there. And then nestle it again in that bottom. Apply that pressure. So that is how the snaps attach. Now the pattern piece is used to kind of center this snap tab on there, and then the pattern instructions actually tell you how much overhang you are to leave hanging over. So the way we place this is we do use that pattern piece to figure out the placement for it, but we have to have this snap tab with the snapping portion up. So the other side, it'll be right sides together, but if you're still confused about this, remember that this will be the back. So this is the back, and this needs to be able to fold over to snap here. So you need to be looking at the snapping component. I know it's a little confusing, but sometimes it's hard with words to get it portrayed, but that is the way it's going to look. There is pictures, of course, in the pattern. What we do now is we're just going to baste this in place. I'm going to go back and forth a few times. And this is how the large looks. So everything's done on it, ready for the next step. Now, before I do those next steps, I'm going to go off camera and get the other ones completed up to this point so that everything looks the same. I have all three of the exteriors completed with the snap tabs attached and the other snaps added onto it. We are ready to attach the linings and sew everything up. Like I said, it's a super quick pattern. So what we'll do is we will just take one of our lining pieces, and just as a note, your linings need to be mirrored, and mine fortunately on either side is the same, so I don't have to worry about it, but make sure you do mirror your lining pieces so that you can match them up to sew them properly. So we're going to place them right sides together, and what the pattern tells us to do is to leave the opening on this side. You leave the opening on the same side as this snap tab in that straight area. The designer also tells us that when you start sewing, you sew in a little bit and then you start sewing around with your seam allowance. You go all the way around, and then when you end it, you go back that perpendicular line. So that those two lines, when you sew them in before you start sewing and when you stop sewing, is supposed to help the turning of the bag and the closing up of the seams. It's supposed to make it an easier closing up and just a neater finish. So we'll try it and see how that goes. And what we will do is sew with the full seam allowance given the pattern. You can clip these together. This small, I'm not too worried about it. Probably on the other sizes I will, but for this one, I'm just going to hold it, and I'm going to put my foot right here on the edge of this straight line. We're going to go a few stitches in. We're going to back stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn and then go ahead and sew with that seam allowance given the pattern all the way around. I will make sure I do really sharp pivots at these corner spots just so we can have a really nice stitch there. When I go over the snap tab, I'll go back and forth a few times just for extra security there. When you come to that ending spot, what you're going to do is you're going to turn or pivot, and then you'll go straight out again and lock in those stitches there. Now that we have these two pieces sewn together, what the pattern tells us to do is to kind of cut off some of these extra spots. So just like where those sharp peaks are, we're going to trim those. We are not trimming our snap tab. And she also tells us to kind of clip down here in this little V shaped a little bit so we can remove some of that extra bulk. So we can get a nice crisp turn there. Definitely make sure you don't cut into your stitches at all. So now that I have that trimmed down, I'm ready to turn it right sides out. And so before I turn this one right sides out, I'm going to sew up the other ones, and then I will turn this right sides out and give it a good press, and then we'll go on to the next step. I sewed all around each of the three. I also turned them out through the opening, pressed them, and tucked in the opening here on the side. So each has the opening there. Not sewn, just tucked in. So this is the step we're at now. The next thing we need to do is we need to top stitch along each one of these angles here, because this will be our opening and it won't get top stitched whenever we do the final sew around. So let's just top stitch each one 1/8 of an inch away. You can pull your threads to the back if you want, but I'm just going to back stitch on mine. Now that we have each of these angles top stitched, what we do is we simply take it and we're going to fold it right sides together for the lining. So I want to take the time to match up my edges really nicely and go slow and kind of clip everything around. If you want on this step, you can iron, but I'm not going to iron right now. I'll iron that flat after I sew it together to make sure I get a really nice press on it. Come over to the other side and match this up as well. Look at how adorable that looks. It's so cute, so cute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew. We are going to start sewing here, go up, over, down, all the way down, and then over again. Basically, the things we're not sewing is we're not going to be sewing along this folded edge, and of course we're not sewing this close because that's the opening. I'm just going to sew 1/8 of an inch away. It's a very easy sew. We're just going to go slow to make sure we don't lose any of the edges, like they don't slip and are not even, and that we get a really nice pivot there. Make sure if you want to use a contrasting or matching thread that you have that in there on both sides, bobbin and the top thread. You leave your snap tab facing up whenever you do the top stitch over that section. Here is how the large looks. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and sew up the medium and the small, and I am already in love. This is so cute, so adorable, and such a fun quick sew. Let me go sew up the other ones and then we will come back and look at them all. I cannot believe how quick and how cute these all come together. Let's go ahead and look at everything. This is the small. This is fabric from Jane R. Edwards. Tag, of course, from Heartwood and Hod. This is the medium. This print is from K.A. Custom Fabrics. And this is the large. This print is from the Imperium course, I'm going to have links for everything. This is the brand new pattern from K.Azcona Designs. This is the Shade Slayer, and this is a super fun, quick pattern. I feel like this pattern is going to be great for gift giving, and I know that might sound a little silly, but you could easily put in a gift card, you can put in some candies, you can put in cash, lotions, hand sanitizer, anything for just a cute little quick gift for maybe cousins or nieces or nephews or stocking stuffers. This would have been great to have at graduation time when we were giving out so much money for graduation gifts. Just a great pattern. Thank you, Kim, for coming up with another cute, quick sew. I think these will be super cute and like Nightmare Before Christmas fabrics. I think it's just going to be something that's just fun to do. Really, you don't need a lot of hardware, just a snap, and that's it. It really is just a few minutes of a sew. Thank you again for watching another tutorial of mine, and if you have any suggestions for future tutorials you would like to see, please let me know. And I hope today in your sewing room you're able to sew up just something quick and fun without any stress at all. And I hope everyone has a great day.